make sure that if you fail something, you can always go back and say, but I did the best I could. There is such a relief knowing that there was nothing else I could do. I put in the work and I didn't get it. But 90% of the time, when you put in the work, it's almost like we say, when you aim for the moon, if the worst happens, you land on the stars. Yes. Right? It's 90% of the time. That is so true. Right? So put in the best, make sure that you don't have any regrets left out. My high school maths teacher always used to say, when you study like nothing else is there to help you out. And when you pray about it, if you're a Christian, pray like you don't even know how to study. So all he was trying to say is, make sure that everything you do it to the best of your ability. And I think that's the advice I would give everyone out there.
Greetings viewers, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to our channel. So today I'm going to be joined by a graduate who's currently furthering his studies, and we are going to unpack his story from high school to varsity and everything in between. So introduce yourself.
Greetings everyone, my name is Precious Mangodi, and as mentioned, I'm currently finishing up my honors at the University of Johannesburg. Yeah, I guess that's a little bit of me.
So could you take us back a bit from high school? Yeah.
So I had a bit of a dynamic high school, actually. Very adaptive. Moved from between two countries, so I started earlier in Zimbabwe, in a little town, or rather Growth Point is the correct name, called Rutenga, at a school called G&N Mission, which was a Seventh-day Adventist school. And there, so I did, in Zimbabwe we have forms, we don't have grades. Yeah. So once you get to high school, it becomes forms instead of grades. So I did form 1 to 4, which is essentially almost equivalent to doing grade 8 to 11. So it was a bit of a rough time because I stayed on my own while I was doing that. Rented my own place and all of that, and my parents were obviously taking care of me, but yeah, it was just rough in that sense as a young kid, starting out at high school and you're staying in your own place, not a boarding school. I don't know, are they like specific questions?
I want you to, you said you're doing your computer science, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when did you get this idea that I want to go for computer science?
Okay, so just to take it back, right? I didn't just wake up thinking I want to do computer science, right? When I was back in Zimbabwe, I wanted to do medicine, actually. So in that time when I finished Form 4, I actually did pretty well, 6 Bs, 2 As, it was quite good. But I was missing key subjects, right? So I didn't have physics, I only had biology and maths. So I needed some physics, so that's when I came to SA. And in SA side, I didn't then go to grade 10. You're supposed to actually go to grade 10. But I skipped that, went straight to grade 11. Took on physical sciences as a new subject, and I had geography as like a self-study kind of subject because I couldn't do Afrikaans since and you need 2 languages in the South African setting. So when I was doing that, obviously the aim was medicine, right? So I had my physics, it was pretty good. I was ranging in the 70s, 80s here and there. Then life science, that one was super good, ranging 80s to 90s actually, super good. Then when I finished matric, right, that was the year 2019. Yeah, so I finished matric in 2019 and applied to universities, applied to Wits, got medicine at Wits, very excited. Applied to UP. I think I also got medicine at UP and Stellenbosch.
Right? Sorry to cut you. Before you continue, what marks did you get on your finals?
So I have 2 distinctions. I don't remember the exact percentages exactly, but one thing I'm certain for sure, I think my lowest mark on my transcript was 68, and it was for accounting. right? So I know I have 2 distinctions, and then most of my marks range in the 75, 76, somewhere there, but not in the 80s range. Yeah. Actually, not 75, 74s. Sorry, no, 74, 73s. Yeah, but you see, in 2019, it was just the year before COVID, right?
Yeah.
So the applications to courses wasn't that strict. As long as you had an average that's above 65, you likely qualified to study anything, right? The only dumb thing I did is I really wanted to go to UCT actually, but then at UCT I applied for an honors thing instead of an undergrad thing. I mean, no one was teaching me these things, so so I applied. I think it was some physiotherapy something, and it was an honors
at UCT.
thing at UCT. So unfortunately, got an instant rejection. It just put a sour mood on me, so I was like, UCT, no. Should have applied for a second choice, but I never actually did. Then I got my MBCHP application approved at Stellenbosch, VETS as well. Quite interesting on the VETS one. And UP. I tried SMU. I'm not sure if you are aware of SMU.
No.
So it's somewhere in Pretoria. Let's keep it at somewhere in Pretoria. But it used to be.
Or
it's a university. It used to be a pure medical sciences university, but they've basically introduced other things as well, like BScs now. So they changed it now. So I remember I went there. I was like, nah, it's too hot here. I'm not going there. Did the same thing with UP. I went to UP. I'm like, that long walk from the gate to the tent where they were doing this registration stuff. I'm like, this is gonna be it's gonna be hell. But I guess when you're coming from a high school setting, you tend to think, now I'm gonna be walking this every day, and it's not like that. But for me at that time, it was like that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go and study medicine at that time because of funding, right? So I tried getting funding in that year, which is like end of 2019, going to 2020. I couldn't, right? So I had to take a gap year, forced gap year, and I thank God for that gap year actually, because it was
the gap year it was the year 2020, right?
Yes. So 2019 I matriculated, got applications done, everything. Then 2020 when I'm supposed to start, I didn't have funding, so I had to take a gap year that year. Then 2021, actually just before the end of 2020, I went to a brother of mine's workplace, and he's a data engineer. So just like seeing how they work and all of that, loved the environment, loved what they were doing. It really felt like I think I could belong here, rather than cutting people open. So I remember that week, we came back. I was staying at his place for the week, and this guy is working, but we are playing FIFA. The tech world is quite interesting. Like I could be having fun while working.
Yes.
Instead of I'm constantly stressed about someone who might die, every mistake and stuff like that. And also I don't like blood. I don't know why I wanted to do medicine, because I don't like blood at all. So that sort of sparked an interest in computer science in me. Like almost, I wouldn't say spark an interest. It almost changed my perspective on what I wanted to study, what I wanted to do in my career. And that's how I started applying for computer science. This is 2020 now, towards the end. So I applied at VETS, got waitlisted, funny enough, right? You get in medicine, but you get waitlisted for computer science. Didn't make sense to me, but that's what happened. UP, same thing, but also it was because I applied slightly late, right? So these courses were almost full, so they were now just being a little strict with it, right? So I got listed at UP as well. And then I'm like, okay, last option, where can I apply? And I'm looking at UJ. UJ wasn't at the top at that time. So really, they didn't even come to mind. So I don't even remember who advised me to check UJ. So I check UJ. I see, they've got this great computer science and informatics course. And what I never understood was why it was 3 years. Because I always thought a degree is supposed to be 4 years. Right, my brothers studied engineering 4 years, right? So I thought the 4-year course, which is the extended program course, came with an honors at that time, right? So I went in for that thinking it will come with an honors. But yeah, I was wrong. Turns out they just stretch out the maths. But yeah, so I then applied to UJ. 3 days later, I have conditional acceptance, went to do my visas and all of that. And while doing that application, I was also doing my application to my scholarship, right? So I studied under the Moshao scholarship, right? It's now called the Moshao program, right? Because I think they don't want to give the vibe that they just need to pay your scholarship. It's really more than that. So I understand that vibe completely and I agree with that sentiment. So I got in there. It wasn't just straight off the bat. I mean, we had some activities we had to do, and then got interviewed. But now it's 2020, it's in COVID, so the interview was via phone call, right? Oof. I don't know if I should say I was relieved, but I think I was more hurt. I think I'm more in tune in talking to someone one-on-one than over a call. So it didn't give me an indication, did this go well, did this go wrong? So I forgot about it. 3 months down the line.
So before these 3 months, they didn't get back to you?
No. So funny enough, they did not get back to me. So I completely forgot about it.
So you forgot about, you're not thinking maybe...
I thought it went bad and that's why they haven't gotten back to me, right? So I know, I still remember, so Jan hits, and I done the application somewhere end of August, right? Jan hits, I get this call. No, it was actually, I got an email and a call at the same time. So I'm still looking at the email on my phone, and then a call is coming through, right? And they were telling me I've been awarded the Moshao scholarship, blah, 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 and all that. I'm like, Moshao. At first, it didn't even click what Moshao is,
Because you'd forgotten
about it 3 months later. So I get this call, but I understand them. It was during COVID, right? So
things are slow.
So I got the scholarship. Funny enough, so I got the scholarship listed under vets as a medic because I studied medicine. So then I remember it was the last day for registration at UJ. Needed to get my medical aid paid for, and all of those other things sorted, right? So remember rushing to get all of those sorted, calling my coordinator then, who was responsible for UJ students, and telling her I need this, I need that, and then she referred me to a more senior student, which is very nice about the Moshao scholarship, I guess. And this guy basically walked me through the registration thing, but I still went for so this is the fun fact. I had a 3-year program acceptance and a 4-year program acceptance, but because I thought that one came with an honors and I never thought to ask, right? I'm registered for the 4-year one. So I get into the 4-year one, and that's literally how I got into computer science. Like from a high school perspective, how I started, that's literally how I got there.
You mentioned about the visa process thing. How long did that take, and how was the process?
So at that time, I wasn't using a study visa at that time. I was using what they call an asylum refuge kind of thing. So that is pretty much instant. You go to Home Affairs, sit with some guys for some interview, then you get that. So that wasn't a big stress at that time, and that's why I didn't have my medical aid paid for when I was trying to do the registration now, because you don't need that for that. But then later on, I transitioned to a study permit, and well, it's very dependent, right? So what I've noticed is if you do the application from the Zimbabwean side or the outside South Africa, right, it takes a shorter period of time than if you do it within South Africa. And always for your first study visa, you have to do it from your country. So I went to Zim, did my study permit, and then came back, continued. I think I did that towards the end of my first year, and then switched to a study visa.
So your first year was in 2021, right?
2021.
2021. Okay.
Yes.
So how was the first year going into university, computer science?
So I would almost say it's not gonna sound as much as people would expect it to sound. And that's mainly thanks to my scholarship, because they make sure you have a full network of support throughout, right? But if I'm to just think navigating everything that I had to navigate, if I was doing it alone, that would be hell, right? I mean, it wasn't as bad. Like I said, I've stayed before on my own before,
Yeah.
so that department wasn't that bad, right? Because I'm used to it. So got into a res, like I'm staying with these other guys that have their own units, well, we're in the same unit, but they have their own bedrooms, and we share the kitchen and the bathrooms. I guess that was a little bit tricky for me, but aside from that, there wasn't much I struggled with. In terms of academic, there was a lot of pressure, right? And I can tell you now, the one thing that really ticked me off about varsity, like starting varsity, was the reality of getting a zero. Like, I'd never gotten a zero. I'm like, then I get
You
to
got a
varsity.
zero on your first year.
So it was
On your first year.
my first assessment for maths.
Your
I
first-
got a
first
zero. I'm like, how?
And you used to be like the top student in high
Top.
school.
Like literally top. If I'm to just go back to my high school in Zen, I was number one from the day I started Form 1 up until second term. Well, yeah, second term Form 4. Zim has 3 terms in a year.
Yeah.
So second term Form 4, I was number one from term 1, Form 1, up until Form 4, term 3. So it was like a very humbling experience. Even when I came to SA to do grade 11 and 12, I had a whole bunch of certificates saying I'm the top student in this subject, top student in this subject. Even maths, I was the top in my school, I guess. But now I am at varsity and I'm getting a zero.
And you're like, how?
I'm telling you, if you don't have the right support network and the right people talking to you, you might just commit suicide, because that feeling it's humbling, right? Yeah.
And okay, can you please tell us how to get accepted into the Marshall program? What do you need to be approved?
Okay, so obviously now it's a little bit more stricter than it used to be, right? Because there's a whole lot of people applying to it, and but you see, like any other organization, there are subtle things that the Marshall program looks for, right? And they like to clone themselves in resilience and all those other. I think it's 6 of them. I would say 6 words they use to describe a Marshall scholar. But for you to have gotten there, your marks are the beginning point, right? So I think right now they're looking for you to have an average of 70 and above, right? And you need to make sure that your sciences, so your maths, your English, and your physics, life science if you're doing life science, accounting if you're doing accounting, you need to make sure those are like good. If you can get them to 85 and above, that would be super. That gives you an advantage, right? So the first thing is, first and foremost, fix your marks. Once your marks are good, right, then obviously now it's all about how you show up in the interview, right? If you have part of the top marks, you would definitely get a chance to get interviewed and have some assessments and all of that, right? And how you show up in the interview, what I like about Marshall is they're not saying come and have a perfect English speaking scenario, right? They understand that you come from an underprivileged background. Sometimes you didn't even grow up speaking English. You had Xhosa friends, Zulu friends, Shona friends. They understand all of that, right? So they try to pick these subtle characteristics within you. Like, okay, you came from a disadvantaged background, but what results did you show with that? And just your results show how resilient you are, right? So you apply, and most importantly, you first need to actually check out what degrees or what courses do they fund at different institutions. Because, for example, at UJ, they only fund accounting and computer science, right? So you need to also look at that before you even apply to say, okay, I am doing accounting, I'm doing computer science, and if you go to vets, it could be engineering, it could be medicine, and all of that, right? But you need to check. They sort of have extensive information on their website on that. But yeah, if any advice I would give is fix your marks first, and then make sure that you apply to the right degrees that they fund in certain institutions, and then just show up as you at the interview.
And you said you got a 0 on your first assignment in... Okay. Okay, so what happened after that?
So so maybe I should explain how I got this 0. So there used to be these things they call web work, right? I don't know if they still do them, but we had web work. And it's an online thing. So I didn't understand how to use the platform. And that's why I got a 0, actually.
Okay.
So, first of all, I went to complain to my lecturer, right? But it's not my fault that I got a 0, you know, because I don't know how to use this thing. It's
because of
the web work. So you guys didn't teach me how to use this thing. And every time, it wasn't that my answers were completely wrong. I was just entering them wrong, right?
Yeah.
So I went to complain, and then they directed me to these other guys at the library who taught me how to use that platform, basically. Like, it was like a 2-day kind of thing where they were just showing us, this is how you use it, this is how you use it. And it was actually my fault for not knowing, because I was supposed to attend orientation, but I didn't. Right? But it was because orientation was online.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
it was also not your fault.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what happened after was just, I went to complain, got the right training I needed, and then I started working on it. Yeah.
Okay, and then the other assignments after that?
They were pretty much good. So UJ that time used to have like a color grading on the marks, and I think my marks were always playing around the slightly, if they are low, they'll be slightly orangish and then green, right? So I used to just play around those, which was quite good.
And also, I've heard stories where like first year students, they have a lot of pressure, peer pressure, and a whole lot of things going on. I want you to describe your first year besides the academics, like everything else in general.
So this is gonna be a tricky one as well. So I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, right? And I get to varsity, and I'm in my first year. Mind you, in my unit, I'm not staying with any first year.
Yes.
I have final year guys that smoke, guys that drink, like everything is just there, you know. And I have so much access to this freedom that I can do anything, right? I guess the only lucky thing that didn't get me to smoking was obviously my reaction to it. So even if someone else is smoking next to me, I would start coughing and stuff like that, because I wasn't used to such an environment. Yeah. But I can tell you now, there's so much pressure to just fit in, to do stuff, just to make friends. Sometimes you want to go to clubs, you want to do this, and there's so much freedom, and no one is saying, hey, don't do this or don't do that. No. And when you get your pocket money, you're like, I don't want to cook at home, we're just cooking. The next thing, mid-month, you're broke. You know, and it's that you're watching everyone doing, right? And these final years are doing that, but they have it paced. So to you, it looks like these guys are doing this every day. They're partying every day. They're, you know, like, they're not even studying. So you don't study, you think it's like that. This is university, but it's not like that. These people will probably go to party on a Friday, right? And to you, they're like, this is our thing. We do this every day. Can't see these people are studying indoors. So outdoors, you've got so much pressure to fit in. Like, you want to fit into the things that everyone else is doing without knowing exactly how to navigate through them. So I think, if anything, if I'm to give advice on that, you need to really, really watch your time, right? My experience was towards the end of the semester, right? So I had 3 modules: language of science, informatics, and maths, right? So towards the end of the semester, language of science assessments were now due, and I'm realizing I don't know what's going on in that module. I haven't even attended class for that module, because everyone is like, why would you attend language of science? It's just it's like LO. Why you attend LO, and it's not like that. And so towards the end of the semester, I'm realizing I have no clue what's going on in that module, and now I have to go and ask for help. Luckily enough, because of the Moshao program, I knew where to find help, right? So I had a mentor, they call it the buddy program. So I had a senior buddy who would tell me, if you're going through this, you can go there, make sure that you're doing this, but most of the times you're not even listening. Because everyone else is playing. Why should I be serious? Yeah, but pacing it is very important. I didn't pace my language of science. I think I ended up with a 60%, I think, for that. And then the things I loved, like my informatics, was way high. I think I have like a 93% for informatics. My maths was playing around 75, 76, somewhere there. So yeah, I think as much as there's peer pressure, you just need to pace things and make sure that you don't get caught up in everything that everyone is doing without actually knowing people's schedules. Yeah.
And for your second year, how was it?
I was used to it. I was pretty much a master of the game at that time. It was going well. Maintained a few of my 90s, but things got real. I'm not gonna lie, things got real. So my major modules still maintained my 90 plus distinctions, but my maths, I remember my maths dropped to a 75 on the dot, and that 75 I was fighting.
From a 90 to a 75?
No. So my maths was playing around 76, 77, 78, and then I fought to get that 75. I'm telling you, like it got real, right? And it was just mainly because the pressure gets real. It's almost like you start to think they don't want with this degree, But yeah, it does get real, and it was more challenging than first year, but I was able to navigate it because I was now used to the varsity life. So once you get used to it, I need to study at this time. I can't be out every day with everyone, because people, I'm not gonna lie, there are things that there's no such thing as an easy degree at varsity, but there are degrees that allow you the freedom to play around, right? And computer science is not one of them. Right, so when the sooner you learn to pace it, so I learned to pace it as well, and then my second year flowed quite well, but it did get real.
And your third year till graduation?
So like I said, I did 4 years. Third year got even realer. So that was the first time I didn't get a distinction for one of my majors. I think I got like a 73. It was for computer science 2B. I got a 70. No, sorry. It was informatics 1A. 2A, I mean. I got a 73 for that. And then my computer science 2B was a 75. Now, mind you, I'm dropping from a 90. Right? So things got really hectic, real. And yeah, so then moving on to the final year now, which is essentially the third year. Group work almost made me not get my degree, because working in a team, and obviously I think this translates to obviously you moving and transitioning to the work world and all of that, but working in a team is very difficult. Like, it's very difficult in the sense that, not that you guys can't coordinate properly, but for example, you like doing your stuff at night, someone wants you to now do it during the day. You understand? Or you like leaving your things last minute.
Yeah, now you have to do it together.
And so that made things very, very challenging. I actually spent most of my final year stressed about the group project. Right. We were doing pretty well in the first semester. I have like 2, so I was just doing 2 modules, by the way. UJ, in your final year, if you didn't pick maths. I did pick maths in second year, but since I had the 4 year, I could finish the maths and then still have my 2 modules in the final year. So you have 2 modules, informatics and computer science. And informatics at that time had the group project. Now they both do have group project, but informatics had the group project, and then computer science had its own mini project and all of that. So first semester went quite well. I got distinctions, I think, if I remember correctly. They were not very high distinctions. Now I was playing around 70s and 80s. Then came second semester when we were supposed to now be presenting what we have coded. My team hadn't coded anything when we finished first semester. So we're supposed to code in recess. That's what we told ourselves. We'll code in recess, guys. But no coding happened in recess. People went home, people were having fun and all of that. So when you're doing the group project from the informatics side of things, you have 3 presentations, right? So you have the first presentation, which is called the alpha presentation, then you've got the beta presentation, and then the final presentations, right? Alphas comes, we have nothing properly working. We got 36% for
36.
Alphas, like 36. So that was bad, right? We tried obviously working on the system and all of that. Then we went obviously to betas, presenting betas, and that went even worse. So I think during the presentation, one of my team members forgot some password we were using, and we didn't implement forget password. So so we couldn't demo anything. Now we're presenting a PowerPoint slide. So, and also because of the time,
Yeah.
So we ended up getting 18% for that presentation.
18.
Like 1/8.
18.
Yeah. So it was almost a guaranteed case that we were going to fail. But the thing is, the weighting still allowed for us to pass, because alphas will weight almost like a 5-6% somewhere there. Betas will weigh almost 10% ish. Then the finals contributes the rest of the weighting. And I'm telling you, when we went to present finals, the first attempt, we got there and we dressed up for this. We showed up. Like, they told us we're formal, we're wearing formal, we're all wearing suits and all of that, right? But we knew we were not ready, right? And that's the honest truth. And we get there and we're presenting on my laptop, and my laptop failed. For some reason, it didn't want to connect.
Right in the middle of the presentation.
Yes, when we were about to start presenting. So we never actually started the presentation. And then we had to restart the PC. When we restarted the PC, it doesn't want to run anymore. So it was a hardware problem. There was nothing we could do about it. And luckily enough, so it's usually you can't give excuses. That can be cause for you to fail. Luckily enough, the external was like, you guys really showed up for this. You really look like you were prepared people, and it was
the whole
just
dressing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just a technical issue, so I'm going to give you guys a chance. And we were given a day extra, right? No, it was a Monday, so we were given essentially 2 days extra, counting that Monday, because we ended up presenting on the Wednesday around 6 p.m. So almost 3 days, I guess.
Yeah.
And when we went for that Wednesday presentation, I am telling you, those 3 days made the biggest difference ever. I remember we started the presentation and it was just flowing so well. I was getting shocked while we were presenting. It was flowing so well. After we finished presenting, our mentor slash lecturer just smiled. Like you can see, you guys did well. He just smiled, and the external, he was a guy from UNISA. He said, I think UNISA should actually buy you guys a system. And deep down we're like, nah, it's not that good. And we went to celebrate that night. We didn't even get the marks, wait for the marks or anything like that. We just went straight to celebrate. There's this place called Zigny. There's a braai meat and all of that. So we went there, playing pool, just having fun. Like, literally, it was one of those, we started from the bottom, now we're here kind of moments. you know? Yeah, so that was pretty much the most intense and exciting parts of my final year. I think, if anything, I also learned that you need to give time to almost everything in that, because my marks also dropped, because of this group project thing. I think I have a 60% for the other module and a 70% for the other module, which wasn't that great. Yeah, and then that was that. But I'd applied for honors as well, so got provisional acceptance for that as well. Yeah, and that was my final year.
Then you graduated.
Yeah, so I graduated. Never really felt the graduation like how people, how people hype up graduation like
Yes.
it's this thing, but I didn't feel it. And I think maybe it's because I was already doing honors and it was kicking my ass.
Yeah.
Honors is it's a nightmare. It's like they take everything you did in 4 years and then they squish it in 1 year. So it's really intense. And I think because of that, I didn't really enjoy my graduation the way I was supposed to. Actually, the day I graduated, the next day I had a semester test. But it was quite nice. Spent a lot on the graduation. Like just feeling that sense of accomplishment that I actually showed up. I got this thing.
After
it was
3
great.
whole years.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you go for any internships after the degree, going into the honors?
Unfortunately, no. So I never had the opportunity to get into internships, and it's mainly because, you can get it, right? But most of them look for like South African citizenship, and stuff like that. So I never actually got into industry internships. But what I did do throughout, and this is like throughout my university, I was a tutor for the university itself. I actually started my tutoring journey the year I was doing my gap year. So I was tutoring high school students that year, 2020.
2020.
Yeah. So 2020 I was tutoring high school students. I continued with that until my second year. Then I transitioned from tutoring high school students to university students from the university itself. So I became a university tutor, and I did that up until last year when I was still doing my honors. And then this year I had to stop because of this permit issues. I'm still in the process of renewing my permit, and I need to have it to be able to continue doing the tutorings and all of that. Yeah.
What other challenges did you face during your honors, besides the wallpaper things and the whole work?
Okay. So in honors, right? So the main thing when you're in honors is obviously now I need to find a job.
Yeah.
And I think that puts more pressure on you. And this one is, I don't know how common it is, but I had relationship issues in that year, and they just took a mental toll on me. Like, it was really a big mental toll.
Yeah.
So now I've got this job, I want a job, I'm dealing with these relationship things, and the workload is a lot, so I actually got to a point where I needed some therapy. Right? So I spoke to my coordinator from Moshao, and she got me to this Moshao therapist, and just getting the time to talk about stuff, how they went down, how I wanted things to be, and getting that listening ear was big for me. But yeah, in terms of any challenges, I always had the support. So you see, so as much as there were challenges, they just felt like slight obstacles, inconveniences, but yeah, I think the biggest is just the stress of where am I going to find a job, am I ever going to get a job and stuff like that. I think that was a bigger stress than anything else I can think of.
Okay, so are you planning on furthering with your studies after the honors?
I'm not gonna lie, honors drained me, but I don't know, maybe it's a computer science people thing. I love the pressure. so I just might. Okay. I have already applied. I think that's what I can say. I have applied for masters again, because I applied for it last year, and then I didn't finish my honors. So I'm finishing it now, but I've reapplied for masters, and yeah, I'm just gonna do some
in the same university, UJ.
same university. I think I wouldn't leave UJ right now because I mean they're the talk of South Africa, right? So yeah, I'm gonna do masters at UJ if I get to do it, and if God allows. Yeah, maybe I'll think of leaving UJ when I'm doing PhD level, but for now,
Okay.
UJ.
So, any advice you'd want to give current grade 12 students and first years, even second, third years?
Okay, so I am gonna take it a bit back, right? Because I always think when you get to grade 12, it's now crunch time, right?
Yes.
You can't fix anything. So I think the advice needs to date back to grade 10, right? When you choose your subjects in grade 10, first of all, don't choose subjects that are going to constrict you to one course.
Yeah.
Right? You need subjects that if you wake up and decide, I don't want to do medicine anymore, I want to do maths and science, I want to do computer science, I want to do law, it can still allow you. Don't go pick subjects that constrict you to arts, for example. Right? It puts, like, you can't change once you have done that, right? So from a grade 10 level, choose the right subjects. Then moving on to grade 11, right? It's just crunch time. That's where you make or break your final year, right? In terms of your grade 12, right? So you need to actually start working from that time, right? And then grade 12s, don't leave your university applications for late, right? Apply. If you can apply to all universities, by all means, right? And make sure at every university you have your first choice and your second choice. Most universities allow that. And apply to sponsorships. You know, a lot of people would think NSFAS is enough to cover your stuff,
Yes.
right? And it's not always enough. Actually, no, not always is the wrong word. It's not enough.
It's not.
It's a guarantee. It's not enough. Like, you need all the help you can get, especially like from I know Nedbank has a very nice one as well, but organizations like the Moshao program, they offer more than just pay for your fees and stuff like that. I mean, you've got access to therapy. Who knew a black guy could go to therapy? You know, it's not very common.
Yes.
But yeah, so apply, get funding, proper funding, as well as first years. They also can apply to that. I think specifically Moshao, they cater for you applying in your first year and your grade 12. Those are the 2 years they look at. So definitely apply, and then most importantly, and I think this covers across all of the years, first year up until your final year, grade 11, grade 10, all of them. I think do as much as possible to pass. Make sure that if you fail something, you can always go back and say, but I did the best I could. There is such a relief knowing that there was nothing else I could do. I put in the work and I didn't get it. But 90% of the time, when you put in the work, it's almost like we say, when you aim for the moon, if the worst happens, you land on the sun.
Yes.
Right? It's 90% of the time. That is so true. Right? So put in the best. Make sure that you don't have any regrets left out. My high school maths teacher always used to say, when you study like nothing else is there to help you out. And when you pray about it, if you're a Christian, pray like you don't even know how to study. So all he was trying to say is, make sure that everything you do it to the best of your ability. And I think that's the advice I would give everyone out there. Final years, pace yourself, yeah.
Okay, I guess we've come to the end of our video. I don't know if you have any last words.
I think those were my last words.
All right. Thank you all for watching. I think we'd also love to have you back here again after you get your master's, and if you wanna come back again and tell us about your journey.
Definitely, I will definitely come back. Probably, hopefully, in a few months or so time, I'll come back and share my experience starting out in the professional world. Yeah, but yeah.
Okay, so thank you all for watching, and please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to comment. Bye.